When I was a kid, growing up, we would oftentimes, at meal times, our parents would do this thing. They would make us sit at the table to have dinner. Now, I'm a dad of 4 kids. We tried this once this week. I love my kids, I really do. They're 11, 9, 5, and 2. And the reason that we tried to do that this week, in fact, we tried it a couple times, we're making the meal, set the table, everyone sit at the table. The reason that we do this, and the reason that my parents did it to me, and many of our parents did that to us, is because we recognize that it's at the table that our relationship with one another grows deeper, oftentimes. Oftentimes, our celebrations are around tables. Oftentimes, some of the most difficult decisions that we have are around tables. You see, the table for any family is formative. You get to know about one another, but you also get to know about yourself and how you're responding to the other. But when I was a kid, and my kids do this too, have you guys ever found that your children exhibit or mirror back to you your own besetting sins? Like, who taught you that? Where did you learn that from? So this is what I did, and this is what my children do. Anytime it's boring, frustrating, confusing, or just downright not what they want to do, you know what the kids do? You know what I did when I was a kid? Left the table, right? Well, I got to go do this, or I want to go over there. I want to go turn the TV on. I want to go play video games. I don't like this meal. I don't like this person. She hit me. He said a dirty word to me. Whatever it is, there are myriad reasons to leave the table, aren't there? And as a dad, and my wife as a mom, do you know what we find ourselves saying every time we do table dinner? Hey, get back to the table. We know you don't want that right now. We know that it's uncomfortable right now. We know that you don't like the food. We know that you don't like the person sitting next to you. Get back to the table. Why do we say that? Because we know that it's at the table that we're formed and our family is formed. That we know more about not only the other person, but we know more about ourselves. We know that there's formation happening at the table, far more than just consuming food. We find that there is an emotional and spiritual nourishment that can happen around the table. So that's why we constantly put up with all the frustration and we say, hey, what? Get back to the table. And it's been interesting to me because I find this same thing in Scripture. In fact, for the earliest followers of Jesus, they did not gather like this. Auditoriums were not their primary mode of gathering. The primary mode of gathering for the earliest followers of Jesus was a meal. It was at a table. When we take communion together, we're doing something that's been happening for almost 2,000 years, where Jesus followers would gather and share a meal. You see, the centerpiece of their church relationships was not the man with the Bible on the stage. The center of their relationships, the center of their faith expression, the center of what it meant to be part of a church family for them was a table. Now let's double down on it. One of the other things that we find in Scripture is that the people who were invited to the table was everybody, which inevitably meant that these tables were diverse. In fact, it might even be by design that Jesus set up his church to be centered around a table, which is centered around remembering who he is, and the people around the table are by design a diverse bunch.